Call or visit a Spectrum store today.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
I'm Sharon Tazwell. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. Dangerously cold conditions are expected to impact more than 60 million Americans now through the weekend. At least 10 states from Louisiana to Delaware are under snow and ice alerts as the winter storm moves east. Many cities saw record low temperatures Wednesday morning, while the wind chill made it feel even colder.
And we're all coordinating to try and cover as much geographic area as we can to make sure that people have enough supplies to keep them safe.
Relations between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump took a hit Wednesday, as Zelensky said Trump was living in a, quote, Russian-made disinformation space. Trump retaliated, calling Zelensky a dictator without elections. It comes just one day after U.S. officials met with Russia in an effort to bring an end to the war. Some Ukrainians now voicing concerns over the future of Kyiv.
I have really bad feeling that the future of Ukraine is not really bright right now.
The wife of a Connecticut man who died in last month's collision between a passenger jet and a military helicopter has filed legal claims against the FAA and the U.S. Army. It is the first lawsuit filed over the crash that killed 67 people. The claims seek $250 million in damages for alleged wrongdoing that led to the collision. That's your Spectrum News in 90.
I'm meteorologist Nate Harrington. As we look at the big picture on a Wednesday, the winter storm that was across the Midwest Tuesday has moved to the east. We've got another winter storm in the Pacific Northwest and big time cold in the midsection of the country. Record cold and frigid wind chills are expected there, but a quieter weather pattern takes over. And also, we've got a warm up to talk about through the weekend and early next week. More details in your extended forecast coming up.
Bone-chilling temperatures gripping around 100 million Americans in the nation's midsection Wednesday as the latest winter storm to hit the U.S. moves east. Up to 10 inches is forecast along the Atlantic coast and Virginia, and significant ice could accumulate in parts of eastern North Carolina. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Tazwell. Kansas City and St. Louis among several cities that saw record low temps Wednesday morning. And it's not over yet. Spectrum's Ariel Wessler starts us off with a warning from officials.
We are experiencing a snowstorm on top of a flooding event.
After flooding in Kentucky killed 14 people over the weekend, the state and region is now enveloped in snow and frigid temperatures.
We had one part of our state that received 8 inches of snow, western Kentucky getting a significant amount, some parts with 6+.
The governor says at least 2 people appeared to have died from hypothermia. Local outreach organizations are mobilizing to keep that death toll from rising.
And we're all coordinating to try and cover as much geographic area as we can to make sure that people have enough supplies to keep them safe.
Flooding is still a concern. Kentucky alone reports more than 1,000 rescues since the weekend. Temporary flood walls have been set up in some cities like Louisville.
Once this wall goes in place and once the pump stations go live, our teams will be running these pump stations until the Ohio River crest.
A crest that's not expected until Friday.
Some people have to be out on the roads for their jobs if there's an emergency that arises, but we really encourage people to stay in, stay off the roads.
North Carolina, Arkansas, and Virginia all declaring emergencies to weather the snowstorm.
As the storm makes its way across the state, NCDOT is shifting crews to remove snow and ice. There are over 1,400 DOT and contractor trucks ready to clear roads.
By Friday, forecasters predict about 3/4 of the U.S. Midwest will experience below freezing temperatures, some places as much as 50 degrees below February averages.
We get through this weekend, going into next week, it's going to get in the 40s at least, and that's going to feel balmy for most of us.
Some Atlantic coast cities like Virginia Beach could see up to 10 inches of snow, the most there since 1980. Overall, more than 270 temperature records are expected to be set across at least 27 states. Ariel Wessler, Spectrum News.
Our meteorologist Nate Harrington joins us now. Nate, while millions are facing record low temps, some regions are dealing with another round of snow. What can you tell us, and when can we expect to see things warm up?
Well, we've got a few days until the warm-up happens, but I think everyone's going to be liking what we have to talk about for the weekend and early next week. But the snow that we had in the Midwest yesterday, it moved across the Deep South and now into the Mid-Atlantic states, North Carolina, Virginia, the Delmarva Peninsula, seeing the heavy snow and the possibility of some ice too. And then we had some really heavy rain down in Florida as well. Overall, the pattern turns pretty quiet, but it is going to stay very cold for the next couple of days. Extreme cold warnings, a brand new alert from the National Weather Service this season. We've got those from the Dakotas down to Dallas. Temperatures well below average, 30 to 40 degrees below normal for this time of year. And then you have the cold and the wind. The wind chill numbers, absolutely brutal. How about that one in Kansas City? That one sticks out like a sore thumb. It's going to feel like 24 below zero to any exposed skin on Thursday morning, but you've got temperatures or wind chill numbers below zero as far south as Little Rock, Arkansas. But I do have some better news. By Sunday and Monday especially, most of the country either right at or way above average. It's a heat wave coming next week. Can't wait, Sharon.
Unbelievable. We look forward to a heat wave. All right, meteorologist Nate Harrington, thank you.
You're welcome.
The rift between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky grows as the two exchange jabs at each other. The disagreements comes as top U.S. officials met with Russia over peace talks, excluding Ukraine. Our national political reporter Taylor Popolars has the latest on efforts to secure peace in the region.
Very good relation. President Donald Trump posted a long statement on social media Wednesday attacking Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He called the former entertainer a modestly successful comedian, claimed Ukraine is involved in a war that couldn't be won, and described Zelensky as a dictator without elections who has done a terrible job. The comments were a response to Zelensky saying the president lives in a Russian-influenced disinformation space, after Trump on Tuesday echoed the Kremlin by blaming Ukraine for Russia's invasion 3 years ago. The back and forth reflecting the sharp disagreement between the two leaders over President Trump's decision to begin peace talks with Russia to end the war, but excluding Ukraine and other European nations with a stake in the outcome. Those talks began Tuesday in Saudi Arabia.
And I think I have the power to end this war. And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
On Capitol Hill, some Democratic senators accused Trump of repeating Russian talking points.
The idea that 3 years ago Ukraine launched this war, when demonstrably, factually, 3 years ago, hundreds of thousands of Russian troops invaded Ukraine, it just defies belief.
Some Republicans defended the president's negotiating style.
So I think President Trump is going to deliver peace, and the American people, I think that's what they voted for.
The president's special envoy for Ukraine and Russia, who was not part of the meeting in Saudi Arabia, arrived in Kyiv Wednesday morning, trying to ease the tensions.
We understand the need for security guarantees. It was very clear to us the importance of sovereignty of this nation and the independence of this nation as well.
And Taylor Popolars joins us from the White House. Taylor, so what's next between the U.S. and Ukraine? Where does the Trump administration go from here?
You know, Sharon, that's kind of the million-dollar question. You saw at the end of the piece that the president's special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, Keith Kellogg, a former general, is on the ground in Ukraine right now trying to negotiate directly with the Ukrainians. But President Trump has made clear he's not really interested in that. So we'll see how far those efforts go. There are conversations about whether Ukraine should give up some of its territory that Russia has stolen over the last couple of years, and whether or not Russia will have to give up anything. So there seems to be a lot of kind of negotiations, and we'll have to see where they stand. But the Trump team tells us that the president wants to meet with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, as soon as possible.
All right, Taylor Popolars at the White House. Thanks. The battle over the budget coming up on Spectrum News, the division between House and Senate Republicans, and what plan the president is currently backing.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Great news, Spectrum Internet customers. Now you can try Spectrum Mobile risk-free for a full year at no cost to you. It's easier than ever to switch. Bring your own device and we'll pay off your phone balance up to $500 per line. Spectrum Mobile brings you a reliable nationwide 5G network you can count on wherever you go. Plus, upgrade your phone anytime, as many times as you want, for any reason when you get Unlimited Plus. Call or visit a store near you. Our specialists are ready to help you switch.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/therightseat.
Weather on the ones. Wednesday, a frigid day across the Midwest and upper Midwest with temperatures in the single digits above and below zero. That cold air continued to just dive to the south as records fell. Record low maximum temperatures, cold high temperatures in the afternoon in places like Dallas, St. Louis, Kansas City saw their coldest high temperature ever on this date. And then we had winter weather across the East Coast, namely North Carolina, Virginia, and the Delmarva Peninsula. This is from Kernersville, North Carolina, near Greensboro. Appreciate Spectrum News videographer Eddie Hughes for the video there. Snowfall will continue to pile up through Wednesday night, and even possibly a little bit of icing too for folks on the southeastern corner of North Carolina and portions of South Carolina, while heavy rain will be the main story across Florida. This storm system moves out. The storm system they were tracking across the Pacific Northwest, instead of gaining momentum and being another winter storm that we have to track, it's going to fizzle out. There will be some mountain snow to deal with for the Rockies, but overall, a quieter weather pattern is going to result as we go through Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday, the weekend. And by the way, looking a whole lot warmer for the weekend too. So there's that mountain snow. It won't amount to a lot, maybe 6, 7, 8 inches, nothing much compared to what they've seen here during the earlier stages of the winter months. But there will be some snowfall that does pile up on Thursday in the wake of that storm. Not as much as what we're getting right now, but the Blue Ridge Mountains could see another additional 4 to 6 inches of snowfall. Morning low temperatures, absolutely frigid. Temperatures 10, 20, 30, almost 40 degrees below zero. These are not wind chills. These are actual low temperatures. Folks in the Midwest will see wind chill numbers in the teens and 20s below zero, but very cold air continues to spread to the east on Thursday. But we talk about the warming trend. We'll have the details for you coming up in 10 minutes.
here's what you need to know. President Trump called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator after falsely blaming Ukraine for starting the war with Russia. The comments are a response to Zelensky, saying Trump is echoing Russian-made disinformation. And the Vatican says the Pope is in stable condition and showing slight signs of improvement Wednesday. Pope Francis also met with collaborators and was visited by Italy's Prime Minister. 7 Chilean men have been charged with orchestrating burglaries of professional athletes' homes across the country. Authorities say the group stole around $2 million worth of valuables. That's what you need to know. President Trump blindsides Senate Republicans by opposing their two-bill plan to enact his sweeping agenda. The president instead backs the House GOP plan to push through one massive piece of legislation, an approach that could be more challenging. Spectrum's Evan Kozloff has more from Capitol Hill.
One bill or two? That's been the debate among Republicans here on Capitol Hill for months. Senate Republicans pushing for a two-tiered approach, starting with a more narrow bill that would allocate some $300 billion towards border security, energy, and defense. But just as the Senate was set to vote on this bill, President Trump came out against the approach.
The question right now, again, is a tactical one. The strategic objective is still the same.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune downplaying divisions between House and Senate Republicans after President Trump took to social media on Wednesday to support the House GOP plan for what he calls, quote, one big beautiful bill. For months, he had expressed no preference for either approach. The one bill plan would include money for the border, defense, and energy like the Senate proposal, but it would also include trillions of dollars in tax cuts sought by Trump, as well as major spending reductions across the government.
More power to them.
Thune saying the Senate will move forward with their two-bill approach while they wait for the House to act.
In the end, we'll be able, whether it's one bill or two bills, to get all the things that the president has outlined as objectives across the finish line.
With thin majorities in the House and Senate, the GOP could only lose a few Republican votes on any bill, since they're unlikely to get the support of Democrats. Thune is pushing for the two-bill approach to deliver an early victory for the president, since putting everything into one bill could make it harder to enact the president's agenda.
They're drowning in their own chaos and confusion.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer pushing back on the president's plan for sweeping tax cuts.
The last thing Americans want to see is a tax break for billionaires.
On Capitol Hill, even some Republicans are looking for GOP leadership to get on the same page.
I hope there's a plan. So far, it seems like to me this game of chicken has been interesting to watch, but I think its utility is now coming to an end.
On Capitol Hill, I'm Evan Kozloff, Spectrum News.
The Trump administration orders a halt to New York City's congestion pricing plan after it launched last month. The program is meant to limit traffic and funds mass transit by imposing a $9 toll on most vehicles entering parts of Manhattan. President Trump had vowed to end the tolls soon after taking office, claiming they were drawing visitors and businesses away from the city. A lawsuit aimed at keeping the program alive has already been filed by the state's Metropolitan Transportation Authority. At least 2 people are dead after a mid-air collision involving 2 small planes in southern Arizona. Federal investigators say the collision happened near an airport on the outskirts of Tucson. The federal FAA confirms 2 people were aboard each plane involved and 2 people survived. Now, the FAA says the airport does not have an operating air traffic control tower. Meanwhile, new legal actions targets the U.S. Army and the FAA over a deadly mid-air collision last month over the Potomac River. The wife of a Connecticut man killed aboard the American Airlines plane is seeking $250 million for alleged wrongdoing leading up to the collision. It's believed to be the first legal claims over the crash that killed 67 people. The investigation continues into the Delta Airlines flights that crashed and overturned while attempting to land in Toronto Monday. New video shows passengers hanging from their seats after the plane crashed. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada, with the help from the NTSB, continue to investigate the cause of the crash. Officials say the flight data recorder of the plane has been recovered.
We've already removed the cockpit voice recorder, the flight data recorder, and we've sent them to our lab for further analysis. At this point, it's far too early to say what the cause of this accident might be.
Meantime, a new poll shows that Americans' confidence in flying has dipped from last year. The poll was taken shortly after the mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. 64% of Americans polled say air travel is very safe, down from 71% last year. Adaptive fitness, how one group is helping people of all abilities meet their fitness and personal goals. Just ahead on Spectrum News.
For the millions of school-aged children across the country, the state of their schools can have a lasting impact on their health and well-being.
The majority of school districts aren't doing comprehensive regular water quality testing.
As CO2 levels rise in a space, cognitive function takes a direct decline.
We visit 2 school districts working to create safe and healthy environments for their students.
Watch Exploring Your Health, Curing Our Classrooms. Available on the Spectrum News app.
When you know you can go anywhere because you have a connection that's built for everywhere. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Weather on the ones as the snow continues to pile up in portions of the East Coast. This is what they had on Tuesday. Some pretty looking snow. There were some travel issues across portions of the Midwest, but this footage from South St. Louis County, courtesy of our Spectrum News crew there, we appreciate that. They've had several record-breaking instances of snowfall this winter, and now they're dealing with record-breaking temperatures. Extreme cold warnings, cold weather advisories in effect from the Dakotas to Dallas. A big chunk of territory taken up by very cold temperatures, numbers that are historic. The forecast highs for Kansas City and St. Louis most likely will be breaking records that have stood for a while. The Kansas City record has stood since 1929. How about the record in Oklahoma City? Again, 15 degrees is the forecast. On Wednesday, 21 is the old record. Again, 1929. Temperatures falling across the board from the Midwest to the upper Midwest. The cold air, though, is going to start to retreat by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. While most of the country stays quiet, we will watch another Pacific Northwest storm roll through, but again, it's going to get blocked by high pressure in the central portion of the country, and there's just not going to be a whole lot to talk about through the weekend, except the warming trend that we'll see. So as we head through Friday, temperatures anywhere from the 20s and 30s from the upper Midwest down to the deep south, but this is a warming trend. This is a warm up from where they are right now and where they'll be on Thursday going into Saturday. How about temperatures actually breaking the freezing mark in Minneapolis while temperatures today are in the single digits? It starts to warm up pretty much everywhere by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Notice the temperature trend. Friday, most of the country east of the Rockies will see temperatures at least 10, if not 15 to 20 to almost 30 degrees below average. On Saturday, it gets a little bit lower. Not quite as cold. Instead of 30 degrees below average, we're 10 to 15 degrees below average. Sunday, it gets even better. We start to cut the country in half. The western side of the U.S., much warmer than average, while the eastern side still stays a little cooler than it should be. But then by Monday, welcome back spring. Temperatures anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 degrees above average from the Mississippi River to the West Coast, and temperatures across the east continue to warm up.
A Wisconsin gym is helping people with disabilities increase their strength and mobility. Spectrum's Ryan Burke shares how the Green Bay Packers are teaming up with the group to help them meet their fitness and financial goals.
A Monday morning class with Grit 920. Executive Director Holly Linder says everyone here comes to work.
The primary focus of Grit 920 is health and wellness to individuals with disabilities. It's not an afterthought or an add-on. It's truly what we do and focus our full attention on, whether it's getting adaptive equipment, getting our trainers adaptive certified. This gym is theirs when they're in here.
The nonprofit offers inclusive adaptive fitness to all ages and disabilities.
Most of the time, they're not getting this fitness at home or in the facility they're in, or if they do have access to this at the facility they're in, they don't want to do it there. We find a way to connect with each individual, find what motivates them, whether that's a certain song on our music system or just a certain movement, and we get to bring out the best in them in that regard.
Grit 920 works with 3 local school districts and various adult programs. Adaptive trainer Nichelle DeCunha says she tries to make her workouts more accessible to the wide range of abilities here.
They are the reason I come to the gym on Mondays. It'd be pretty easy for me to not want to come to the gym, but I show up for them.
Linder says participants build self-confidence just as much as they are building muscle. The gains made in the gym affect other parts of their lives, like success on the job.
They are able to be employed a longer period of time because they have come in here, built some strength, built some stamina to be on their feet or to lift more. And this commitment level helps them make that commitment level at work as well.
She says the Give Big Green Bay campaign helps put a spotlight on this group, but the donations during the 24-hour blitz should also help their bottom line.
And whatever money we raise during that period, a percent will be matched by the Green Bay Packers. So we're very excited.
It's a passion project for those running the organization as they build muscle and so much more for participants. In Howard, Ryan Burke, Spectrum News.
Ticket prices for the Four Nations Hockey Championship are rivaling Super Bowl prices. U.S. and Canada will face off Thursday in Boston. Ticket prices for the event range from $1,200 to $4,000 a piece on resale sites. The matchup will be the first time NHL players from the U.S. and Canada will play against each other for a title since the 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver. The NFL is heading back to Brazil in the upcoming regular season. The game will feature the Los Angeles Chargers in their season opener. Their opponents will be announced later in the spring. It'll be the Chargers' first international game since 2019, but the team will be the first to play on 5 continents. 7 international games will be played during the 2025 NFL season. I'm Sharon Tazwell. Thanks for watching. Your Spectrum News and 90s coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
Friday nights, The Big Deal with Errol Lewis, where Spectrum News' local political journalists break down the most important issues shaping our nation.
Our journey towards improving mental health doesn't always present a clear path. Every Thursday on Your Mental Health, we listen to voices across our communities, discussing the challenges of everyday life and presenting accessible resources to guide us along the path to our well-being, providing hope and empowering choices that light the way to a healthier you.
Your Mental Health with Dr. Nicole Clark, Thursdays on Spectrum News Plus, available on all your favorite devices.
The future is here with Spectrum Mobile and the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI. Do more than ever before by handling multiple tasks with a single ask through Google Gemini. And start the day smarter with Now Brief, insights that keep you ahead. Power it all with the fastest wireless speeds from Spectrum Mobile. Order the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI from Spectrum and get $700 off with trade-in. And now Spectrum Internet customers can try Spectrum Mobile risk-free for a full year at no cost.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, We all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/team up.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News Plus, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm. Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News Plus, exclusively on Spectrum. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app. Spectrum News Plus, local stories, connecting communities.